सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। We were seeing the topic of adharopaha, superimposition. So what is superimposition? If the question is asked, what is adhyaropaha? Then we had an answer. Vastuni avastvaropaha. Avastunaha aropaha. So superimposition of avastu upon the vastu is adhyaropa. And vastu is Satchidanandam Brahma, which we keep it for time being. We are going to understand it elaborately later on. Then what is avastu? Avastu is ajnanam. We saw ajnanam. And the word ajnanam literally means ignorance. And here we take the word ajnanam is moola ajnanam. What is avastu? Avastu is ajnanam. Ajnanam means what here? Moola ajnanam or moola avidya. It means original matter. Otherwise called what? Prakritihi. And why it is called avastuhu? Avastu, if you say, avastu is that which has no independent existence. Avastu is not tucham, not totally non-existent like a rabbit's horn, or it is not unreal, but nor is it absolutely real. But what is it now? Avastu is mithya. Mithya means that which is neither unreal nor real, that which is not tucham, but that which is as though. That which is as though means that which has dependent existence. That which is not there always, but that which is as though means what? That which has dependent existence. And this avastu here is what we ajnanam. Ajnanam means, I said, moola ajnanam, moola avidya, which is actually we have another word, prakritihi. Now we are learning so many words which are synonyms. Ajnanam, avidya. Now moola ajnanam, moola avidya or prakritihi, we use different words. And this prakritihi also is what now? Anadi. It has no beginning. And this prakritihi, we can say original, subtlest matter. And this prakritihi has no beginning, means it's also uncreated. And this prakritihi we saw is of two types. One is what? Samashtihi and Vyashtihi. Vyashti ajnanam or Samashti ajnanam. Vyashti prakritihi, Samashti prakritihi. Vyashti ajnanam means, let's say, it is Rajah pradhana prakritihi, and Samashti ajnanam is Sattva pradhana, Vishuddha Sattva pradhana prakritihi. So the predominantly sattvic matter is called Samashti ajnanam, and predominantly rajasic matter is called Vyashti Ajnanam. So the Ajnanam obtaining in every individual is what? Vyashti Ajnanam. And the same Ajnanam, collectively he says what? No, Samashti Ajnanam. And we're getting the Vyashti Ajnanam is called Avidya. Samashti Ajnanam is called Maya. Okay, and this Avidya and Maya. So the predominantly rajasic matter called Avidya or predominantly sattvic matter called Maya were essentially one and the same matter. It's okay. The difference is what? Vyashti, Samashti is that one is like one tree. Vyashti is like one tree, one single tree, and Samashti is like the forest consisting of all the trees collectively. So this Vyashti Samashti Ajnanam, the individual Ajnanam is said to be inferior because it is one obtaining in an individual. The same Ajnanam obtaining in collectively in all is said to be what now? Maya is said to be superior, exalted. Utkrishta, Nikrishta. Utkrishta Ajnanam, Nikrishta Ajnanam. Samashti is Utkrishta, Vyashti is Nikrishta. Nikrishta, Utkrishta means superior, inferior. And here we saw, therefore these two, Avidya and Maya, serve as manifesting media. Avidya serves as manifesting medium for consciousness, and Maya also serves as manifesting medium for consciousness. Therefore, we call it Upadhihi. Avidya is also Upadhi, and then Maya is also Upadhihi. And here, this Brahma, Satchidanandam Brahma Chaitanyam, the absolute reality, the consciousness, manifest in Avidya, gets the status of being the Jivaha. The same one and the only consciousness manifest in Maya gets the name Ishvaraha. So Ishvaraha and Jivaha are two different names given to the one and the same consciousness in keeping with the difference in manifesting media. This much we have seen already. And last class we saw this Avidya has got different names. Avidya and Maya both have got different names. First name is what? Karana Shariram. Karana Shariram. Avidya is also called Karana Shariram. Maya is also called Karana Shariram. Karana Shariram means cause. And both are said to be Shariram, means that which is subject to get resolved is called Shariram. That which is resolvable, that which is called Shariram. That which will get disintegrated, that which is subject to get disintegrated, or that which is subject to get destroyed, that which perishes is called Shariram. Anything which perishes is Shariram. That's why body is called Shariram, because it is going to get disintegrated later on. So again, I taught you in second chapter class all itself, Bhagavad Gita second chapter, when we understood, whenever we talk about, use this word destruction or perishing, the destroyed, perished, etc., we have to remember one thing. There is no such thing called total destruction of anything here. Absolute destruction of anything is not there. So destruction is there's only relative destruction. And the relative destruction is nothing but a change. So anything which keeps that which keeps on undergoing a change, Therefore, is what we say mithya is also here. So this karana shariram is also what now? We called avidya is also called karana shariram. Maya is also called karana shariram. But cause of what? So avidya, this is the question came from today Germany. Avidya is called karana shariram. Why? Avidya is said to be cause. Why? Because avidya has no form, not a body like this, isn't it? Avidya is subject to get resolved one day or the other. It is resolvable, therefore it is called shariram, isn't it? And this avidya is the karanam, cause of what? Ahankaradinam karanam, the author presents in Vedanta Sara. I made it very clear. It is this avidya which is the cause of samsara. Samsara means what? The life of transmigration. The transmigratory life. No, beginninglessly, endlessly, being born again and again and again. Being born and going through pairs of opposites throughout the life. Again, when the parada gets exhausted, again, leaving the body, again assuming another body, again being born. This beginninglessly, endlessly, continuously going through life, through assuming different bodies, going through many births, is called life of transmigration. That is why it's called what now? Samsara chakram, samsara sagara, samsaraha, the cause of samsara. And for you to assume a body again, to be born again, that's why when we ask this question, why are you born here? You do not know why you are born, but you are born. Nobody knows the cause for one's birth. We are born here. Why am I born? You can never find answer. But Shastram says here, the very birth it is not your choice. You did not choose to be born, but you are born. Which means this birth implies what? Assuming a body, you are born here means that birth is mainly for the exhausting one's karma, we say. So the birth is determined by what? The karma one has in one's account. Karma means what? All the pairs of opposites, pains and pleasures, one has to go through in one's life. And those karmas, what one has in one's account, because of that alone, one is born again. So now the question comes, why there is karma? Karma means punya papams. That unexhausted fruits of actions, which everyone has in one's account. For exhausting those punya papas alone, you are born here. So birth, what is this birth for, if you say? As a human being, you are born here ultimately to discover moksha. But until you discover moksha, you are also exhausting what? The punya papas you have in your account. Oh, that means, how did I have punya papa in my account that I had to exhaust those punya papas? If you ask, because you performed actions. Now also you are performing, that's a different thing. Previously, before assuming this body, before you were born also, in previous life you had, having previous shariram also, you were performing actions. Of course, once you are assuming you are born with the body means you are performing actions. And those actions, whether those actions were righteous actions, right actions or wrong actions, in keeping with the actions you performed, you have accumulated punyam and papam results. And those punya papas alone you are exhausting now. For exhausting those punya papas you are born here means, so janma presupposes karma phalam. Isn't it? Unexhausted fruits of actions. So that karma presupposes your performance of actions, isn't it? So performance of actions presupposes your desires, ambitions, wishes, longings, aspirations. Isn't it true? Why did I perform action? Because natural. It is not something wrong here. It is very natural for one to have desires, ambitions and wishes. So actions presupposes desires. And desires presuppose, why did I have desires? Desires presuppose your needs. You always had needs, you still have needs, you will ever be having needs as long as you remain ignorant, isn't it? Therefore, the needs. So nothing is that's why you are relieved of the guilt. You are relieved of any guilt. Everything is very natural. The needs were there. The needs alone become desires. The needs, why did I have needs? Any needs, emotional needs, the biological, emotional, all the needs we have. The needs are very natural. Again, the needs are there because of the sense of inadequacy, sense of smallness centered on I. If other person does not have money, other person is small or inadequate in terms of money, other person is poor, will you do karma? Will you have a need? If you have, you will not have need, isn't it? So the smallness, the sense of smallness, sense of inadequacy centered on I is the fundamental, common human fundamental problem. Every time I emphasize this. It is this fundamental problem alone gives rise to the wrong notions that I am small, I am insecure, I am unhappy, I am insignificant, I am a mortal, etc. And it is these wrong notions one entertain about oneself due to the fundamental problem of sense of the sense of smallness and inadequacy being centered on I, that the needs come into existence. I tell you, you are not creating the needs. What is the cause of the needs? What is that really which brings these needs, into existence? Why there are needs? It is the inadequacy, it is the smallness centered on I, as a result of which the wrong notions you have about yourself, in such as I am small, I am in terms of so many things, I am inadequate, isn't it? So all this, therefore, the desire, I want to live long happily, that desire again becomes all other desires. Therefore, the needs are because of this, and we say that is because of the erroneous self-perception. Why do I have this? Why do I have wrong notion about myself? Why do I have sense of smallness, sense of inadequacy centered on I? Do you want to have smallness centered on I? Is it your wish? No. It is natural, isn't it? Because there is erroneous self-perception which you are not aware of. And erroneous self-perception is due to what? Because there is a superimposition of limitations of non-self upon the self. Therefore, there is sense of inadequacy, sense of smallness centered on I. And the superimposition of limitations of non-self upon the self, no, is due to erroneous self-perception. You mistake the non-self for the self. You have identity with the self, identity is with the non-self. Isn't it? Your identity is with the non-self because of the erroneous self-perception. And this erroneous self-perception is because of self-ignorance. You are not able to see what you are, which means your real nature is covered. Understand? Your real nature is covered. So your real nature being covered from being known, isn't it? What is that? Why is that you are not able to see what you are? How you see the wave, at the same time you see wave is, you say, and wave is water also you say. The two, isn't it? Wave is knowledge. And wave is water is a complete knowledge of the wave. You do not say, I don't know whether wave is. Wave is half knowledge. There is a wave is half knowledge. This wave which is water, is total knowledge, isn't it? Like that, I am, you know, but you do not know what I am. This is this half knowledge and half ignorance. This half ignorance, no, is there because of which there is erroneous self-perception, and this half ignorance is called what here? Because of avidya. Understand? So avidya is ajnanam, ignorance, and half ignorance. Understand? And this ignorance is, this avidya is the cause of erroneous self-perception. Because erroneous self-perception, there is no superimposition of limitations of non-self upon the self. Therefore, there is this sense of inadequacy and sense of smallness centered on I. Therefore, all the notions you entertain about yourself are wrong notions. Therefore, there are needs. Understand? Once the needs are there, then the desires, the fundamental desire comes. And there will be all other desires crop up. Everything is natural. If you see, because of desires, you perform karma. Once you are assuming a body, you're born here means you perform karma. Because the biological needs, you have to do karma. Emotional needs, the desires, you have to do karma. So karma produces results, and all the results cannot be exhausted, and the results take their own time to fructify. Therefore, when you have, before the span of life ends, if you have karma palam, and they get accumulated, and to exhaust this karma palam, those karmas really, what now? You know, because of the karma, there is janma. Once you are born again you are born with what? Ajnanam. Again it continues. Therefore, what is that which keeps this samsara alive ever? Isn't it? It is this avidya. Therefore, avidya is said to be samkaranam. Actually, ahankara is mentioned by the author there. Ahankara is the knowledge I am is ahankara. That's fine. Half knowledge is fine. But anything added to I am, if you say anything you add to I am, becomes what? the wrong notion about the self, which becomes ahankara. Therefore, it is the cause. Therefore, it's said to be karana shariram. And this karana shariram, because yesterday people asked me, so I repeated again today, is also called layasthanam. Layasthana means every time, when this avidya is there, layasthana means when everything is resolved. In sleep, for you, the subtle universe is not there, gross universe is not there, your own limited world of experience is not there for you. Therefore, it's layasthanam, and it's also layasthanam and anandamaya koshaha, because this avidya is saturated with what? Also ananda, there is sukham, bliss, experience of bliss also is there in sleep, which is for you, it is it's available for your own experience. Therefore, it's called anandamaya koshaha. And then sushuptihi, it's also called sushuptihi, because sushuptihi means where all the functions remain resolved, like the function of mentation remains resolved, and all your perception, the sense powers remain resolved, powers of organs of actions remain resolved, so everything remain withdrawn in avidya. Therefore, it's called sushuptihi also. Like that, we saw the names of this avidya last class, and now we have to understand one important thing here. I introduced this, I'm repeating last week's class only, I'm not doing the new class today. Chaitanyam, Chit, both words mean the same, consciousness. And this Chaitanyam, the pure consciousness, original, the consciousness, when you say, it is without mentioning the avidya or maya or ajnanam. It's about a nir-upadikam chaitanyam, Brahma. I wanted to learn all these technical terms. Nirupadhikam chaitanyam means consciousness without the manifesting media. Upadhi is called Nirupadhikam chaitanyam. Nirupadhikam chaitanyam Brahma. You know, this Nirupadhikam chaitanyam is what? Beginningless, timeless. So vastu, you know that. Vastu. Now we have what now? Two upadhis we have understood. What are the two upadhis? The two manifesting media. One is avidya and maya, or you can say maya and avidya. So Vishuddha Sattva Pradhana Prakriti, predominantly sattvic matter called maya, which is an upadhi. And then avidya is also what? Another upadhi. Upadhi is manifesting media. And the consciousness, they say nirupadhikam chaitanyam, the consciousness without the upadhis, associated with the upadhi becomes what? Sopadhikam chaitanyam. Sopadhikam chaitanyam, nirupadhikam chaitanyam, in association with the upadhi is called what? Sopadhikam chaitanyam. Consciousness with the upadhi is called sopadhikam chaitanyam. Consciousness without the upadhi is nirupadhikam chaitanyam. The sopadhikam chaitanyam gets two different names, two different titles, isn't it? One is Ishvaraha. The consciousness associated with the Maya Upadhi gets the name Ishvaraha. The same consciousness associated with Avidya Upadhi gets the name Prajnaha. I don't use the term jiva here. Prajnaha. Ishvaraha and Prajnaha. Who is Ishvaraha? Ishvaraha is the name, title given to the Chaitanyam associated with the Maya Upadhi. Same again, who is Prajnaha? What is Prajnaha? Prajnaha is a title, name given to the same consciousness associated with the Avidya Upadhi. So, Sopadhikam Chaitanyam gets two different names, Ishvaraha and Jivaha. So, is there a difference between Ishvara and Jiva, Prajnaha? Ishvaraha and Prajnaha, there is no difference. The difference between Ishvara and Prajna is only from the standpoint of the manifesting media. Is it clear? That is become very clear. Now, therefore, the Sopadhikam Chaitanya means, so the Ishvaraha, Jivaha, two status. The Prajnaha, Ishvaraha, Prajnaha. So the two status. Therefore, the status is also what we say, status. And Avidya Upadhi, Maya Upadhihi. Two manifesting media. Of these five, we say two Upadhis, two manifestations of consciousness and pure consciousness. So, pure consciousness, Nirupadhikam Chaitanyam, two manifestations of consciousness. Now, with the two different names, what now? Ishvara and Prajnaha. Then, two manifesting media, two Upadhis, Maya and Avidya. All the five are what? Beginningless, Anadi. Nothing has a beginning. Understand? Therefore, now only thing, what is Vastu, what is Avastu here, if you look for Nirupadikam Chaitanyam Brahma Vastu. Ishvara's status is Mithya. Prajna status is Mithya. Upadhi, Maya is Mithya. Avidya is Mithya. Is it clear? Now, so we have to enter into the new lesson today. This much we covered. Old lessons are just a little bit. I said every time I repeat the same thing so that by the time you finish this Vedanta Sara, it will be very clear. So, this Sopadhikam Chaitanyam, the consciousness associated with the Upadhi, known as Ishvaraha or Prajnaha. Consciousness associated with the Maya Upadhi called Ishvaraha, or consciousness associated with the Avidya Upadhi called Prajnaha, is called what? Upahita Chaitanyam. The consciousness associated with the Upadhi is called Upahita Chaitanyam. Upahitam. We can say, now we are going to understand, and that consciousness is that Nirupadikam Chaitanyam, the pure consciousness is the Turiyam. It is the name what now? Turiyaha. Turiya Atma, or I can say Turiyam Chaitanyam. Turiyam means a pure consciousness here. Then we are going to understand why this name Turiyam comes That we'll see the meaning later on. And here, to understand this, the author uses Upahita, the example he gives, Upahita Chaitanyam or Avachinna Chaitanyam. You can say Maya Avachinna Chaitanyam or Maya Upahita Chaitanyam Ishvaraha. I wanted to learn this sentence. Maya Upahita Chaitanyam or Maya Avachinna Chaitanyam Ishvaraha. Avidya Upahita Chaitanyam, Avidya Avachinna Chaitanyam Prajnaha. And its Chaitanyam without the Upadhi alone is Turiyam. See, we're going to see here. Let us use here, the author is going to use, we're going to see the text actually later on. Now before we go to the text, see, there is space, and space is one, space is indivisible, partless whole. I use every word is important. Space is one. We don't have two spaces. Space is one. Meaning of the word space, we have no doubt it is one. There is no second space, it's not there. And this space has no parts, it is partless. And this space is also indivisible. Can we divide the space? It is indivisible. So, indivisible, partless whole. This one indivisible, partless whole, space. So, here consciousness also, this Nirupadhikam Chaitanyam, Brahma, implied by the term Brahma, the pure consciousness is like, okay, don't take it as spice. One indivisible, partless whole. And now there is a pot, and pot which exists in space and which encloses a given area of space, isn't it? And seems to be, really it can't enclose, but still, no, it encloses, it seems to be enclosing the space. And then what happens? That the space associated with the pot gets the name pot space. Pot space is only a name given to the same one and the same partless indivisible space because of its association with the pot gets the name pot space. Pot space is a name given to the one and the same indivisible partless whole space. Is it clear? And the same space is the name. Obtaining in, pervading everything that is here, associated with all the objects existing in space, we can say total space. Like that here also, Ishvaraha and Jivaha or Prajnaha are the names given to this one and the same indivisible, partless whole consciousness. Then we say avachinna means, no, avachinna means as though, avachinna means divided. The indivisible space seems to have been divided, isn't it? Seems to be divided. Is space really divided? No. But it seems to have been divided, appears to be divided. This apparent division in space, which is not real. Yes, no? Therefore, the apparently divided space, seemingly divided space is what now? Avachinna chaitanyam. Avachinna chaitanya. So, avachinna akashaha. Similarly, the consciousness also, we understand now, this one indivisible, partless whole consciousness obtaining in a given individual, associated with the given upadhi, is also what now? Given body mansions complex, gets the name Jivaha, Avachinna Chaitanyam. Avachinna Chaitanyam. Is it clear? So it's called Avachedavadaha. Avachedavadaha means we use this, no? Seeming division. Now similarly we can go, one more thing he is going to say, which means consciousness is one indivisible, partless whole. This only Jiva is only name attributed to the same consciousness. Similarly, we say, now Pratibimbavadaha, we have Pratibimbavadaha means there is one sun above and there is the entire, we have the one sun above. In every wave there is reflection of one sun. In the wave also there is a reflection. In the ocean also there is reflection. Isn't it? Even in a small droplet also there is a reflection. There is a reflection of one and the same sun reflected in a drop of water, a ripple of water, a wave of water, and ocean of water, a river water, a pond water, or water in a container, big, small, different containers. So many reflections, isn't it? But reflections, all the reflections are of one and the same sun. But reflecting media are different. Similarly here, the manifesting media are different. The manifestations are all of the one and the same consciousness. Now this pratibimbaha means reflection. We have another word called abhasaha. Abhasaha means reflection. So we can say the manifestation, instead of using the term reflection, we can say these manifestations. So the manifesting media are many and different, but manifestations are all of one and the same, only indivisible, partless whole, the consciousness. Is it clear? So we have two, this avachedavaha, and also what now? Pratibimbavadaha. Whichever vada you take, in both vadas you understand the consciousness is Pratibimbavadaha means the reflection. You take it as a manifestation or you take it as obtaining in. So the all pervasive, indivisible, partless whole consciousness obtaining in every individual, associated with all the individual upadhis, gets the name Prajnaha. Therefore, that it is one and the same. The division is only a seeming division. There is no real division. Similarly, when you say manifestations also, they seem the plurality. It seems there are many manifestations, therefore the plurality, we talk about in me one, in you one, another other person one. The plurality also is what now? So divisions and plurality. Okay, multiplications. So the plurality also, the plurality of consciousness also is only seeming. There is no real consciousness, is it? The plurality is also seeming plurality. Division also is what? Seeming division. Because consciousness is one, not plural, and similarly it is indivisible, but this is only seemingly divided. So to understand how consciousness is not many, how consciousness is indivisible, not many, one, not plural, one, it is indivisible but seemingly divided. To understand this, we use these two vadas, avacheda vadaha, and then one is pratibimba vadaha. So we can understand this, how one space, associated with one pot, gets the name pot space, enclosure. So it's good, no? Here, avachinna akasha means enclosed space, divided space. Not really is divided, it's seemingly divided. Similarly, one sun reflected in many reflecting media, many pots of water, is what? No, reflections are many, but sun is one. Therefore, all the reflections are of the one and the only sun. But all the manifestations are all the manifestations of one and the only consciousness, which is seemingly divided, which is actually indivisible, partless whole. This basic thing we have to remember to enter into the class. Let us read this 46th, 7th first. So, anayoho samashti vyashtyoho vanavrikshayoho iva jalashaya jalayoho iva va abhedaha. So there is abhedaha. Here, abhedaha means non-difference. The 47th sentence discusses the non-difference between even vyashti ajnanam and samashti ajnanam, maya and avidya. Okay, maya or avidya, both are the samashti ajnanam and vyashti ajnanam, both are essentially one and the same ajnanam, isn't it? Therefore, abhedaha, they are non-different. What is the difference? Difference between maya and avidya is like one tree and a tree and a forest, isn't it? What is the difference between tree and a forest? Many trees put together is forest. I think one tree is tree, isn't it? Therefore, what is the difference? Every tree is forest. No way. Every tree is part of the forest. Every tree is not different from the forest, isn't it? Like that, essentially, avidya and maya are one and the same ajnanam, same matter. Therefore, he says, just as the water obtaining in a small container or water obtaining in a big reservoir is one and the same. Similarly, there is no difference between what avidya and maya. Essentially, avidya and maya are one and the same matter. That's what he wants to say. Then, so upadi abeda he is talking about. Isn't it? Upadi bedaha. Upadi essentially one and the same matter. But if you take it as maya, upadi, what samashti, vyashti is the difference. Vyashti, samashti, bedaha is there. That is the difference, isn't it? So, now upadi beda is over. He talks about upadi beda. Now he goes to the next one. Essentially, abeda, but otherwise there is a vyashti, samashti beda. Sattva, rajas, predominantly being sattvic, predominantly being ajasic is the difference. Otherwise, essentially they are one and the same matter. The next he goes, yetad upahitayoho Ishvara pragyayoho api vana vrikshavachinna akashayoriva jalashaya jalagata pratibimba akashayoriva va okay. So here, Yeshaha Sarveshwaraha. Now he is going to give the example. The example is from Mandukya Upanishad example. We will not do that. We just see the meaning of the other mantra. So now he is talking about what about the difference? What is the difference between Ishvaraha and Prajnaha? Don't think I am repeating. Text is repeating. I am just come back here. What is the difference between Ishvaraha and Prajnaha? He says Upahita Chaitanyam. Upadi Beda you understood, isn't it? Similarly, what is the difference between Ishvara and Prajna? Their only name, the difference is only in the name. Ishvara name, there's a difference. Prajna name, there's a difference. Two different names. Why? Because the difference is in manifesting media upadi. The upahita chaitanyam, only the name there is difference, but actually, essentially, there is no difference between Prajna and Ishvara. Essentially, Prajnaha and Ishvaraha are non-different. In association with the upadis, understand, there is a name difference in names. Difference is only in names, in association, in keeping with the association of the different upadis. Otherwise, essentially, Prajnaha is consciousness, essentially, Ishvara is also consciousness. And he says, for that the author says, Vana vriksha avachinna akashayoho iva. Suppose the space associated with one tree or the space associated with the big huge forest. What is the difference? What is the difference between, we shouldn't even use the term between. You can use this word between only if there are two. But still we try to use the term between. What is the difference between the space associated with one single tree or the space associated with the huge forest? What is the difference? No difference. Same. So here, that's why avachinna akashaha. Avachinna akashaha means, that's why I use the other pot example. The space associated with the pot is what? Avachinna akasha. Ghata avachinna akashaha. So, ghata avachinna akashaha means space enclosed, seemingly divided by a pot, is essentially indivisible space. Similarly, space occupied, isn't it? Space enclosed by a big tank is also what? Essentially indivisible part. A formless space, one space, indivisible space, partless space. Just as there's no difference between space associated with one tree or the entire forest, similarly consciousness associated with the Maya Upadhi or Avidya Upadhi is one and the same. Essentially one and the same. Then why do you give two different names? Why do you give two different names? Why do you call Ishvaraha? Why do you call Prajnaha? Because of its association with the Upadhi. Vyashti Upadhi, Samashti Upadhi. Single and total, isn't it? Therefore, individual and the total. The individual Upadhi, consciousness associated with the individual Upadhi gets the name Prajnaha. The same consciousness associated with, identified with the total Upadhi is called what? Ishvaraha. The names are different, but essentially one and the same consciousness. This is avacheda. The standpoint of the division, if you say, the divisibility also, there's no, it is indivisible. And what about the reflections, pratibimba? There he says, Jala Jalashaya Jalagata Pratibimba Akashayoho Iva. Or he says, Pratibimbaha, we can say, even, you see the space, isn't it? Blue sky above. That's also called Akasha, isn't it? Not only the space here, the blue sky is also, is what now? Akasha. You see the sky above, no? The blue sky. And the blues, you can see the reflection of the blue sky in the still waters. You can see, no? Akasha. So there's a reflection of the blue sky in what? In both. In Jalam. In the water obtaining in a small pond or water accumulated in a huge reservoir. In both still water accumulated in a small pond or this still water accumulated in a huge reservoir. In both we find the reflections of the one and the same blue sky. Still water, you see the reflection very clearly, sky in the water. And how do you see that? Is there a difference? It's called Pratibimbita Akashaha. First you saw Avachinna Akashaha. Then you can say divided, limited space. And we say then it is reflected sky. Is there such thing called are there two different skies? The same sky, isn't it? One and the same Akasha. You find in both. So it's called Abhasa. Abhasa means reflection. Is there a difference between the space, the sky reflected in water and the huge reservoir of waters. There is no difference. The reflections, we can say that Pratibhimbita Akashaha or Avachinna Akashaha, however you take it, doesn't matter. It is one indivisible, partless whole. It is essentially one and the same. Two different reflections are of one and the same sky. Similarly here, the consciousness also essentially this Prajnaha and Ishvaraha. Prajna Ishvarayoho. I mean what now? Essentially, this Prajna and Ishvara also one and the same consciousness. That is what he wants to say in this sentence. Ivava Bhedaha. This is how the Bhedaha, this is how the difference is. That actually, essentially there's no difference. Is it clear? Essentially there's no difference. Difference is only in manifestations and reflections and in keeping with the association. With the differences in media. He says, Yeshaha Sarveshwaraha. So, Yeshaha Sarveshwaraha. That Yeshaha Sarvajnaha. Yeshaha Antaryami. Yesha Yonihi. Sarvasya Prabhavapyayo Hi Bhutanam. So he says, the Mandukya Upanishad, he quotes, the Mandukya Upanishad also talks about Ishvara. Prajna. So, Yeshaha Sarveshwaraha. Sarveshwaraha, we say, the Lord of everything. Who is the Lord of everything? Sarveshwaraha. There is no Lord other than consciousness. So, Sarveshwaraha, Sarvajnaha, omniscient. Sarva Antaryami. Who is the one who inheres in everything? The one who inheres in everything. The one who is inherent in everything is Antaryami. The Antaryami, Ishvara has so many words. Sarveshwaraha, all, the one who has overlordship. Sarveshwaraha, Sarvajnaha, one who has overlordship, omniscient. And Antaryami, the one who is inherent in everything. Antaryami. Yeshaha Yonihi. Yonihi means the cause of everything. Ishvara is said to be what now? The cause of everything. Then Sarvasya Prabhavaha Apyayohi. And the origin of everything and resolution of everything. That in which everything, the origin of everything, that Ishvara is the one from whom everything comes into existence. Ishvara is the one in whom everything resolves. Prabhavasya, Sarvasya Prabhavaha, Sarvasya Apyayaha. The one in whom everything resolves, the one from whom everything comes into existence, the one who is all-knowing, the one who is inherent in everything, the one who is the Lord of everything. He said Ishvara is said to be, all these words mean Ishvara. Sarvajnaha, Sarveshwaraha, Antaryami, Yonihi. Who is this? Actually, who is Ishvara? Tell me. Ishvara is Chaitanyam. So who is Prajnaha? Essentially one and the same Brahma. From the beginning you are made to see, help to see the non-difference. Is it clear? So, I'll continue, I'll repeat this next class. The 48th, I just touched today a little bit of Pratibhimbavadaha and this Avachinavadaha, Avacchedavadaha, Avachinavadaha. I'll continue in the next class. Okay? Avachedavadaha, Pratibhavadaha. I'll repeat next class and I'll continue with that. Is it okay? Even we don't need to work very hard. The author himself repeats and he takes care of our understanding. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari